Hi everyone, how's everyone doing? Does anybody find it surprising that Donald Trump is backtracking over the Epstein files now? If you think about how he got back into the seat of power for the second time, it was on the back of pushing these conspiracy theories of that particular time period. And the Epstein files was something that was pushed, and he promised that he'd uncover all that needed to be uncovered. But now he's in the seat of power, the top man again. He's not so quick, is he? And this is causing some ruffling of some of the Republican feathers, because they're thinking to themselves, whoa, what's going on here? You know, we got behind you for this very thing. And now you're not so keen, are you? You seem to be backtracking. Now, why would he do that? Well, I think some of the images and some of the photographs of him with Jeffrey Epstein, they quite incriminating them, really, aren't they? I mean, what's he doing with him? Why is he keeping company with him? He must have known his activities. You know, he's a man of that time that knew what was going on. He was very savvy, very astute, and a good businessman. Don't tell me he didn't know that Epstein was a procurer of young girls for the purposes of adult entertainment in that way. So if he's not careful, he could find that the very reason that he used to get back into the seat of power could be the very reason that gets him out of it, and smartish, if he's not forthcoming with some answers. But I've been looking at this and I've been analysing it just recently, and I've always held the belief that we are under some uniparty system, and it actually doesn't matter who's in the top position, in the top role, who's making the decisions in the White House. Ultimately, they're just instruments of the globalist, those at the very top echelon. So if Trump, all of a sudden, he's starting to do things that question his loyalty at the beginning, then don't be surprised. I want you to imagine, right, we'll take America first. So you've got the leader of the Republicans, who's now the president again, and that's Trump. You've got a leader that represents the Democrats, and you've got a leader that represents all the parties. I want you to imagine that they all belong to the same secret club or secret religion that hides inside a club. I'll explain it this way. Certain degrees are given to certain individuals within this club. But I'm more interested in the secret religion that hides inside it, for I believe that they are the ones that are making all the decisions. So would it really matter if on the next election, the Democrats get back in because they've got somebody that's worthy of fooling the American people to vote for them? Would it really matter who's going to be making the decisions in the United States at that time? Or would it even matter in the UK? Currently, we've got Starmer in power. We've also got the Conservatives, who I said have run aground and are likely to go into oblivion because respectability is something that, well, it's well and truly gone for their party. No one actually believes them anymore. But you've still got Kemi, haven't you? Badenoch representing them at this time, hoping that she can get into the seat of power. You've also got Nigel Farage, who's doing quite well with the Reform Party. Let's say they've all got something in common. There's a common denominator for all three of them. Let's say that they all belong to that secret club. every one of them, all three of them, then would it really matter who is running the UK, who is making the decisions? No, it wouldn't. Because if they all belong to that secret club, then they've all got something in common at the highest level. And that is how you would explain a uniparty system, in a way. There's another way to explain it, and that is the judicial explanation, a courtroom situation. Okay, so you've got a prosecution, you've got a defense, and the prosecution outlines their case, and the defense outlines their case to discredit the prosecution's argument, and vice versa. And you've got a judge that is supposed to be right down the middle. You know, he's not supposed to be left, not supposed to be right, not supposed to be swayed any way. He's supposed to go right down that middle like that. That's how you'd explain the uniparty system. You've got Democrats, you've got Republicans. Now, at one stage, there's a role reversal. You'll see that role reversal in the last election. Couldn't you see how Donald Trump was having to defend himself against what the Democrats were saying about him regarding the Epstein situation, regarding the Russia collusion? So you've got prosecution, you've got defense. And now it reverses. And I often wonder why it reverses. Is that really democratic process taking place? Well, no, because it doesn't matter about the democratic process, does it? If they all belong to the same club, if they're all part of that secret religion that hides inside the known secret sect that we all know and aware of. It absolutely doesn't matter if Donald Trump gets ousted before his term's up and a Democrat comes in and starts making the decisions, because ultimately he'll still belong to that uniparty system. And that the globalist, those at the very, very top, that we call lurking in the shadows, you never see a face to them, they will always prosper, they will always benefit, no matter who's in, whether it's Republicans, whether it's the Democrats. They will always benefit. These are the same kind of people that finance two countries when they're at war, so they can never lose. These are the same types of people that wanted America to be divided right down the middle, North and South, the Civil War. You see why they did that? They had to have a common enemy, and so they created the Civil War. As terrible as what it was, and people at the lower levels would have believed that they were fighting for a noble cause. Those at the very, very top knew exactly what it meant, and that was to create this divide through their country so that they can always have a common enemy. Hate the Democrats or hate the Republicans. And in the Civil War terms, that's where it sprang from, isn't it? From slavery. One wanted to abolish slavery, one wanted to keep it going. So they had to have a reason. So they mix in lies with truth. Donald Trump at the moment, for me, has started to do that. He started to mix lies in with truth. He's in the process of suing, is it the Washington, Rupert Murdoch's rag for $10 billion. But what good would that do? What good would that do if Donald Trump is actually named in those Epstein files, those secret files that probably now will never ever get released? Yes, it's an untrustworthy situation. For me, you can't trust anybody that's running the country. And I'm going to say that about probably Nigel Farage. If Nigel Farage gets in at the next election, it's because people will have come to the point where they don't trust Labour, they hate Starmer, and they absolutely hate the Conservatives and would never give them another go. And so the alternative is they get Trump's mate in, Farage. Farage is a good speaker, and you need to be a good speaker, don't you, to get that top job. So I wouldn't put it past the Reform Party to do quite well, and perhaps for Nigel Farage to be Prime Minister of our country one day, whether it's this time round or next time round. Maybe it will be this time round. You know, a week is a long time in politics, and we've got a few years, so a lot of things can happen. But I bet you, although I can't prove it right at the moment, that Nigel Farage will probably have some connection to maybe that secret religion. I don't think that anybody that wasn't in that secret religion would be given the chance to run the country, because they hold on to everything and they control everything from every level, from the first rung of the ladder to the top, every profession, you know, stage and screen, all politics. They kind of have their own people at the top everywhere. And that's why I don't think it really matters what face is in the White House right now. It just happens to be Trump. But it could well have been anybody else. And the end result is that we will still be going to war, and we'll still be financing war. We still won't want peace. It won't be genuine peace, because we're a shoddy lot of humans. We only know how to kill. We don't know how to beat our swords into agricultural utensils. We don't know how to do it, and we don't even want to do it. So, to sum up, Trump is now reluctant, isn't he? But why campaign on the basis of these conspiracies? And there was quite a few at the time that were being pushed by the right-wing sector of Republicans. Why campaign on all that and the strength that that had and the momentum, and now for it just to be plugged and halted by the one that used it for his advantage? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? What doesn't he want everybody to know in those Epstein files? But we've all seen the pictures. We know he kept company with him. Perhaps on the Elite Express, that private jet. He probably was a visitor, a regular client, just like Clinton. So they're all the same, aren't they? All of them. Yep, they all belong to a uniparty system. That's just how it works. And if you're looking for how you can work out the hierarchy within that, look at it this way. So you've got your leaders, your prime ministers, and you've got your presidents, and they all belong to that secret club. And then above, at a higher level within that secret club, you've got those that lurk in the shadows, and they don't have faces. But sometimes you hear about them, you know, members of BlackRock or some of those top organizations. And above them, it's quite possible you've got non-humans, what we call, well, Satan's generals in a way. I know that's used before, but Satan would have a hierarchy. He's the top person of this world who runs this world. Below him, he'll have his generals. Below them, there will be the earthly hordes. Those earthly hordes spread out like a spider's web all over. And that spider's web gets bigger and bigger the lower it gets, the more control it has. So you've got God's enemy right at the top. Think of God's enemy as the spider, who spins that web on the earth. And with the help of his generals, it gets bigger. But then the generals, because they are not of earthly composition, they're of what you call invisible composition. It can't be seen with a human eye. They have to use humans, and those humans are earthly hordes, slaves, and they do the will of them on this earth. And they have to have an organization. They have to have an earthly organization that filters all the orders through. That's the secret religion that hides inside the known religion, or the known man-made organization that we sometimes call FM. So yeah.